What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Dermy Wormy, and I'm coming back with another G Gundam episode 29, I believe. Let me just double check real quick, because I always get the episodes mixed up. Yet 29 of G Gundam. God, this is a nice change of pace. You know, I do these reviews because I like G Gundam. As I've already said, I love G Gundam, and you can get it from all these reviews how much I love these things. It's a nice change of pace from modern Hollywood, seeing what Japan had to offer. And this isn't the greatest thing Japan's ever offered to us, but it has a nice spot in my heart. And this episode I've seen countless times. The next couple episodes I've seen countless times because I own them physically. You know, it's something that, hey, when I'm in a downer mood or if the internet goes out at my place, I go like, hey, you know what? Let's throw this in. I'll just sit there and I'll listen to the theme song and I'll be like, God, I love this. It takes me to a happy spot. You know, being happy sometimes is all you really need. It doesn't need to be, you know, grandiose or anything like that. Just some simple stories. Like this week is simply just young love. And the not consequences, but the fight back and forth, I would say, between, hey, what do? You know, well, you have a conflict of sorts that our young Saisaishi finds himself in, and we're going to get into it, and I'm not going to do that one. I'm going to do this one. I know it's not as pretty, but hey, it ain't me, and it ain't my work. Doing this for a review, and copyright's a pain in the butt. So, we got our little announcer here talking about how we're about halfway through the round. Everybody's chalking up wins. But this week's opponent is Saisaishi versus Saisaichi's Dragon Gundam versus Neo Denmark's Mermaid Gundam. And quick side note, even though Mermaid Gundam is not my favorite Gundam, I do like the design. I like the idea behind it. And you get to see some of the cool aspects of Mermaid Gundam in this episode. And I think what Neo Denmark does have, and Denmark, and we'll see it later down in the series, is they really like the fish. They really like fish in this series, and we'll have to wait till later episodes to see it, because there's some outrageous episodes, but you get to see a lot of Gundam eventually. Trust me. But also, we're going to be dealing with a mysterious young woman that catches Saisaichi's eye. And how Saisaichi deals with this is interesting, because we also get a little glimpse into how Saisaichi interacts in the world. Something that a lot of people don't realize is Saisaichi's not, he's a showboat, but he's not all for the whole popularity and fame. He's very much, hey, I just want to have fun. That's it. He doesn't want to be treated any way else. And he's a young kid, so we get a nice young love story. Get ready, go. And we open the episode fully on watching Toro Gundam from Neo Spain go up against Mermaid Gundam. And we're watching them all fight and everything, locked in combat as we prepare for what's going on. And we cut away and we see Shuizen and Keiyun, who's who, I don't remember. But they're talking to Saisaichi saying, hey, this is a very powerful Gundam and you got to watch this, okay? You got to watch this match, because you're going to be going up against Mermaid Gundam next. So take notes. And Saisaichi's being Saisaichi, you know, kind of kiddish, but kind of relaxed in the world. He's like, oh, I got it. Not a big deal. See, laid back, doesn't really care, just wants to fight. And next we have Rain and Domon show up. And first, you know, you see Rain and Rain's all like, hey, you know, I'm here to watch. Saisaichi comes around the corner and saying, hey, there's Rain, and then notices Bro's there. Domon. This isn't very much a Domon-heavy episode. This is a Saisaichi episode. So, and Saisaichi's good friends with them. He looks up to them, and having them there builds up his day. And Domon's like, yeah, it's not much to watch this, you know. I don't really need to watch this. I'm going to win all my fights. And Rain chooses butt out, because she takes note of the same reason Saisaichi should be watching. These are your opponents. You need to know their techniques. You need to know how they're fighting. And this is the perfect way to do it is watching their matches, seeing who's doing what, seeing how badly damaged their Gundams are, and figuring stuff out. And as they're sitting there, final moves are about to be played in this match. You see Toro's red, I think it's Scarlet Red Flare, which is his signature move, which looks kind of cool. And they're going in for that final strike. Toro Gundam strikes, Mermaid Gundam dodges, and finishes him off quickly and easily. And everybody takes note that, hey, Mermaid Gundam won, but Domon saw something very serious. Mermaid Gundam doesn't have a long time left to live. Live is not really like living because it's a Gundam, and I'm not talking about the pilot. No, I'm talking about the actual Gundam. It's not good anymore. It's actually weighing down, and it doesn't have much time left. It has maybe one good fight left, and in that fight, it's going to give it all he's got. And you zoom in on the pilot who named Hans as he's greeting the crowd. You know, Saisaichi's hearing this, realizing his next fight's actually going to be a whole lot harder than he thought. And you hear Hans, who is the pilot for Mermaid Gundam, request, hey, hold in there, please, for me. I want to get one last good fight. He knows he's not going to win, but he sure as hell ain't going to go down without that serious fight next. You get Shuei Zen and Kayun, one of the two, saying that this is going to be really tough. So Saisaichi, you need to prepare. And they know, look, and he's gone. Don't know where he went. Well, we find out where he went. Threw on a disguise, and he's walking around the town. Just Saisaichi gets in his head a lot. And he's walking around the town. He wants to see everything. He's like, listen, I got this all under control. I can do this. No need to worry. Let's just go off for a walk and relax. And he goes and buys a bun of some sort. And he watches as a bunch of goons decide to beat up on an old restaurant owner, saying that they put a bug in his food. And Saisaichi's like, God, come on, that's the oldest trick in the book. But then a young woman interjects. Our lovely lady for this episode, Young Love. She interjects and says, hey, you know, quit lying. I saw you pull that out of your pocket. Quit hassling this old man. And, you know, the old goons, they're all freaking out, like, oh, what's a pretty little girl like you gotta do here? Where's the man escorting her? And Saisaichi walks up seeing that because he doesn't like that. No, this is what we call chivalry. Defending the honor, not being a simp, or white knighting, just being a decent person. Comes up and says, hey, quit picking on her. Pick on somebody your own size. You know, the goons look up to him, go like, yeah, and whose size is that? Because Saisaichi's relatively small. And Saisaichi just lays him out. Again, Saisaichi's in disguise here. They don't recognize that he's a Gundam fighter for Neo China. So it's easy for him to just beat up on these weaklings of sorts. You know, the guys start freaking out and they send their biggest guy after him. Saisaichi just gets out of the way and knocks him out really fast, going for the family jewels. Guys flee, say they'll get him next time, and then Saisaichi's like, yay, now for the girl. Quite literally, he says, now for the girl. He sees the girl consoling the old man, getting him back up. Saisaichi comes over, you know, and because the old man's actually hurt. He's old, he has a condition. So they're like, he's like, hey, I can't work the rest of the night. I'm gonna have to close up shop. And Saisaichi and the young lass decide, no, we're not just gonna let you close up. We'll help out. And Saisaichi, we've established Saisaichi's a brilliant cook. So he gets in the kitchen, starts cooking up for everybody, and they're having a wonderful night. Young lady whose name is escaping me. I kid you not. I can't remember her. Cecile. Cecile's her name. She's there, you know, serving, doing her part. She's watching as Saisaichi's all calm and having fun cooking for these people. At the end of the night, they walk home. They're chit-chatting and stuff, and they're learning about each other. And I believe it's... is it here or later? I think it's here. We find out that... No, it's later. They're chit-chatting. Okay. Getting to know each other. And she asks for Saisai's name, and he doesn't give it to her. Because this is something Saisai is. Yes, showboaty. Yes, he's a kid. A little out there, but also he doesn't want to be very famous. I don't think he really likes fame. He doesn't like being recognized that much. He wants to go around hanging out and doing kid stuff. Kind of Saisai. He's a kid. And this goes back to the first episode we saw him when he lied about his name to Domon. He doesn't want to go off by his name. He wants to be his own person. He knows he can be recognized easily. So he sets up and says his name's Chickaline. I think that was the same thing he said to Domon. And, Cecile laughs at it, goes like, that's a weird name. And he's there acting all mysterious and cool. As they walk off, Saisai just starts interacting. They start talking. And Cecile says, hey, I live over here and I'm going to go now. I hope you... And Saisai's like, oh, okay. As he's watching her walk away, she turns back and says, hey, that old man's not going to be up for a while. Maybe we should do the right thing here and go serve for him. But let's help him out tomorrow. As she turns away, Saisai's so excited because he gets to spend more time with this girl. This girl he just met. Love at first sight. He cares a lot about already. He wants to spend time with her. Young love. We've all been there. Sometimes it bites us in the butt. But for Saisai here, he's finally interacting. He's running around. He's having a good time. But then we get the beginning of the conflict. As Cecile walks inside, we start having her talk to her older brother. And she hints to her older brother, hey, I'm home. I've been out late. I've been with a boy. And her older brother named Hans says, boy? What kind of boy? I'm not telling. And Hans looks concerned, and that's when we figure out her older brother is the pilot for Mermaid Gundam. I think I did overlook this. I'm trying to think back, because I think we have another conversation before the inevitable happens. But Saisai lets on that, he's being raised by two older guys, and he doesn't like how they treat him such like a child. And with Cecile, her parents are gone. She travels with her brother for work. We've been having this talked about and stuff, and when you realize that her older brother's a Gundam fighter, you realize she's part of the team. Saisai and him are inevitably going to fight, and that's the conflict here. Now we get to the next day. You see Saisai bright and early already running into town. You see Kyun and Shiun, I can never say their name right, and Kayun saying, where the heck is that boy? He's not here for training. Oh my god. What's going on? And you see Saisai all ablaze for Cecile. And we get a comment from the two older guys. The Shaolin Temple is going to be coming to watch the next match. Hopefully he's ready for this. Like, hey, you got a lot to do. We got a lot to prepare for. If we fail the entire Shaolin Temple. Always remember that. Saisai's goal is to reignite the Shaolin Temple. Make sure it's prominent again and not what it is now. Not kind of minimal. But Saisai really wants to go on this date. Because that's what it is. It's a date. They're having fun with each other. And this date is just something simple. They're going around picking up groceries to help cook for tonight and having a fun time doing it. You get young love where Saisai stares at her, she takes note, and he looks away, and you get the blushing of, oh my god, did she notice I was staring? Just day goes on. Oh, this is when they talk about it. And I already talked about it. This is when we learn more about them, without actually saying who's who. You see the conflict begin, and you know what's going to happen. And these two really care about each other. She travels with her brother, and her brother has one match left. This ain't going to end super well. And I'm moving on because I already explained it. Oh, they said something that made Saisai blush, and he likes spending time with her. Oh, and as they're interacting, I do like this. Domon shows up, says, "Hey, look at him with that Saisaishi with that girl." And he goes like, "Hey, let's go say hi." And Rain immediately pulls him away, saying, "Don't do that." They're having a conversation, realizing that it's kind of like a date, and them interrupting is rude and wrong. Domon's face was all, even though it's kind of animated poorly, it's like, "Oh, maybe you're right," because that's Domon. He just wants to. He likes his friends, and he wants to go say hi, kind of oblivious to some reality of stuff, and because he only really cares about fighting. And Rain's there to just pull him back, saying, "You're kind of stupid." We cut later to that night as they're cooking, having a good time, but you see Hans has entered the market looking for Cecile. As he's walking by, he walks up to the place where Saisaishi's cooking, and that's where it begins. Hans meets Saisaishi, Saisaishi meets Hans, and Cecile's there to basically introduce the two and announce, "Hey, I'm his brother." The conflict is born. Saisaishi realizing the next fight's Hans' last fight no matter what. And Hans is going to leave. That means Cecile's going to leave, and Saisaishi has feelings for Cecile. And then in the converse, Hans is going to do his best to end Saisaishi. However this plays out, they're going to leave. Their time together is fleeting. Get your mid-credit scene. We cut to the next day, where we are told by Rain, of all people, that Saisaishi's not here at the battlegrounds yet. Yep, because we're already at the battlefields. And Shuin and Kayun said, "We expected him to already be here when we woke up, but he didn't show up. We don't know where he's at. What's going on?" Young Love again. See the Shaolin Temple arrive. They're panicking, and then as they're trying to figure out where Domon is, they take note that a young woman shows up. Cecile. And Rain notices that, hey, Cecile's been hanging out with Saisaishi. We should ask him, like, what's going on? She asks, "Hey, have you seen Saisaishi?" And, well, she tells him what we missed in that mid-credit scene after the conflict. And here, what happened? And what happened is Hans told Cecile everything. Who he really is. What's going to happen? What's the cost here? And that is Saisaishi is Saisaishi, not Chikaline. He's the pilot of Dragon Gundam, Mermaid Gundam's next opponent. And it's serious. And, Cecile says, that ain't true. That's not real. And she confronts Saisaishi on it. And Saisaishi's just not telling him the truth. And she realizes, no, that is the truth. Saisaishi, I butchered that. And the realization that she's falling in love with the opponent that she's probably never going to see again hits her. And young love, emotions, hormones, instead of actually facing the truth, Saisaishi runs away. You have the girl telling him all about it, and Domon's like, we got to find him. And we just keep moving on there. And, you got Shiu and Kaylin saying, "Hey, we've been treating him like a kid for so long. We never realized that, hey, he's also a young man. He's going to fall in love. And this is a serious point. Like, this is him growing up." So Cecile says, "Hey, we need to find him. My brother wants to have this serious fight, even if it means I'm going to lose him. But I got to have him." So she goes off trying to help find him. We cut to, look, the goons, who are day laborers with special Gundams, special armor units, saying, "Oh, it's so hot, bored, we just want to go watch the match." And they see Saisaishi there sitting out watching the sea. Cut over to Saisaishi, just kind of depressed, when Cecile finds him. And Cecile says, "Why aren't you at the match?" And she slaps him. Says, "You're a Gundam fighter. My brother's your opponent. Act like a Gundam fighter. Don't give us this disrespect. My brother wants to fight you. My brother requires this and wants to give it his all. Why are you acting like this?" And Saisashi tells her the truth. Tells her basically laying it out on the table. Mermaid Gundam has one match left, and I've been saying that a lot through this, but this is what Saisashi even tells you, and it's the reality of this episode. Mermaid Gundam has that last match left. Win, lose, or draw, chances are Mermaid Gundam's going home. If Saisashi's the reason she goes home, he couldn't live with himself. He is starting to grow these feelings. Again, young love, man, boy becoming man, hormones, all that stuff. He's having a hard time with that and coming to grips with that. And Cecile realizes that too. And Cecile tells him, my brother's been looking forward to this. You're one of the... Basically, everybody knows he's one of the Shuffle Alliance. He's an awesome opponent. Hans wants to give it his all for this last match. And you doing this is showing him disrespect. Please come to the match. She's also realizing that she has feelings for him. You know, stupid kids, not interacting. They're getting closer. About to, you know, Cecile's here pleading with him, please fight for me. Saisashi agrees, and then we get the reality. The goons want payback. Payback for what Saisashi did, and wants to just teach him a lesson. So they show up, and Saisashi's like, I don't have time for this right now. I gotta go. And as they run, well, they surround him because he's trying to run away. They go in for an attack, but we get told from behind. We see, not told from behind, we see as Domon shows up in the core lander to take them on instead so Saisashi can get to his match. And I love this moment. The two leave. Domon summons Burning Gundam. They're freaking out because he's an actual Gundam opponent. These are Gundam fighters. I love it because these three goons that are no names really have been picking on Gundam fighters this whole time, and now they're panicking, realizing, oh my god, what did we just step into? So Domon shows up. They're like, hey, he's a Gundam fighter, but we could take him out. We'll show him our special technique. They go into the spinning vortex attack, and Domon does... I love this because it shows some of the comedy of Gundam and some of the comedy of Japan and just how fun this episode is. Domon does, you know, serene state of mind, going gold. Says, all I need is 1 foot as they're spinning around him super fast, and all he does is trip him. That's all he does. Wraps up nicely. And they say, hey, we're going to go watch the match now. I love it because it shows, yes, there's a difference in strategy. You can't just be an everyday person and think you're going to take on a Gundam fighter. You can't be an everyday person and think you're going to take on the King of Hearts. He's going to beat you easily. And that's what he did. He just pushes out his foot and they all just go tumbling down. I love it. It shows just a little humor there. But especially because when you watch that, they have like the serious dramatic music playing. Like, oh my god, this is a serious fight. But in reality, it's just comical. It's barely even a minute, or maybe it's 2 minutes long max. Maybe 3. But we get over to the battlefield now. And we got all this time left. This is a serious match. Mermaid Gundam's there like, where's the opponent? You hear that announcer saying, hey, all the members of the Shaolin Temple are here to root on Dragon Gundam. They want to know what they feel, and they basically say all in unison, it looks like our Shaolin Temple will never be rebuilt, and we're terrified all together now, and they all just start crying. And as, you know, Shiyu and Kaon feel guilty because they haven't properly trained Saisashi. They've been treating him like a boy this whole time. As the clock starts ticking, it does reach the hour mark. Well, the 12 o'clock mark, which is the final time to say the match is over. Mermaid Gundam wins by default, and as they're announcing that, Dragon Gundam comes swooping down from the sky. Shaolin Temple, all in unison, keeps yelling, he's here, he's here, he's here, because they're excited because the match is going to be on. Dragon Gundam versus Mermaid Gundam. Everybody's excited. Everybody's prepared. You get a little back and forth between Mermaid Gundam and Dragon Gundam. Hans and Saisashi saying, hey, who would have expected when I found out you're the boyfriend? Saisaishi saying, who would have expected? How do you think I felt when I found out you're the brother? They're not gonna, relationships, all that aside, they're gonna give it their best. They're already prepared. Gundam fight set, ready, go. And the moment the match starts, Saisaishi is on the back foot. Like, Hans ain't giving in. Hans will give all for this match because it is the last match. And he ain't going down easily. Saisaishi's trying to dodge, trying to hit, missing all of his strikes, and Hans uses his spear to strike down at the ground. Saisaishi dodges, the ground breaks open, causes massive damage. Seawater rises from the ground, as you can see. And as it's rising up, Mermaid Gundam's actually in the water and pulls Saisaishi into the water. And here is where Hans has the upper hand. Because, well, you can figure it out. It's Mermaid Gundam. It's designed to be a fish. It is a submersible weapon. And changes into a underwater fish, just going ham on Dragon Gundam. Because Dragon Gundam's at a disadvantage. Spinning around, striking him, just juggling him, if you know the video game terms, just juggling. Keeping him in the air. Everybody's watching this as Mermaid Dragon Gundam's just getting hammered. Cecile torn because, hey, she has feelings for, not outright love, but she has serious feelings for Saisaishi, but it's her brother at the other hand. Dragon Gundam falls to the ground. Mermaid Gundam says, I've got you, wraps him in a net, goes in to keep striking, and Dragon Gundam is just he's on the losing end. Mermaid Gundam goes for that final strike. Saisaishi responds with, I ain't gonna make it easy, slams the ground, causing a massive dust cloud. And this physics. You don't know this, it's simple. And disguises himself. Hans responds with, hey, you're not gonna be able to hide yourself that easily. As he's trying to figure him out, says, come out and fight me. Gets down, turns on some lights. As he's scanning the seabed floor, he notices Dragon Gundam. Notices the arm. He's like, oh my god, I just won. I've won. I beat him, Cecile, I beat him. Slams down on the head, pulls it up and realizes it's just an arm. Just a simple arm. And from behind, Dragon Gundam strikes him and finishes the match. And that's when you see Saisai's idea was he sacrificed his own arm to win this. He was not going to go down easily. He was going to do his own tactics. And Hans takes note of that and says, looks like I lose. Falls down and match is over. Everybody's excited. Saisaishi comes up realizing what's going to happen next. Not very happy with it. But is told, hey, you gave it your all. You did exactly what he wanted. Cecile's tearful and but happy that the match went the way it did. But everybody knows what happens next. We get a sorrowful goodbye where Cecile, Chippity, Saisaishi begs Cecile to stay, says, is there anything we can do? And Cecile says, no, Mermaid Gundam's finished. Can't stay here any longer. We have to go back to Neo Denmark. That's that. And Saisaishi's having a hard time dealing with it. They're both having a hard time. Han says, we gotta go. That's that, Goodbyes. He gets a kiss on the cheek. Cecile begs Saisaishi to win the matches all for her, and that's exactly what he's gonna do. Is win them all for her. Because that's what's driving him now, is Cecile. Not just the Shaolin Temple, it's Cecile, his love for Cecile and wanting to see Cecile from now on. That's going to be one of the driving forces, and we will see it come up in several other Saisaishi moments. There's a little picture of Cecile that he cares about so much. We get some background now from Shiuzen and Keiyun saying, hey, we've been raising this boy all wrong. He's now becoming a man, and we need to treat him like a man. And young love is going to sprout up, and this is that moment of him coming to grips with that. That being said, guys, the episode kind of ends there. Simple love, young love. The conflicts, the story, and my God, Japan does it better than modern Hollywood. Just going back to what they have, you can find these deep, sprawling stories that are just tucked away in these older shows. That's what I'm doing these reviews for, is to show you there's some wonderful stories out there. Don't have to rely solely on what's here. That being said, thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, share it out with friends, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell for every time I put out a new video and go live, guys. And I'll see you all on the next one. Bye for now.